Alright, shalawam. First off, I want to say all praises to Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, bahasham Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders at GMS, and to the elect doing the work in sincerity and in truth. Shalawam. This GMS precepts is our chad here, and as you can see in this article here, um, this situation in LA will start in LA. It's getting bigger. Okay, it's getting bigger. Okay, and it has a potential to become. It has a potential. Right now, it's just a protest, right, or civil unrest or whatever. But it has a potential of becoming um, a civil war, right? And I'm gonna show you um, what has to happen for it to become that, right? But right now, it's not a civil war now, based on the definition of what a civil war is. Um, but like I said, it has a potential to be, right? And a lot has come out about this. We know um, who's backing this. Same guy who backs all the protests. Um, you know, whether it be uh, BLM or whatever. George Soros. I meant to say George Floyd, but it's George Soros. Um, let me see here. Um, so this has the potential to become bigger. Let me go to hold on. So let me just read this. This is from NBC News. This is as of today, June 10th. And it said, as immigration raids continue, ICE protests spread coast to coast. Activists plan more events Tuesday in New York, Chicago, Dallas, and Atlanta. A curfew covering a compact area of downtown LA is likely, the city's mayor said. So it's not even a curfew. It isn't even set yet. So basically, it looks like a divide between the factions. It looks like a divide between both parties, um, and it looks like, or it could be just on paper. It could look like a divide between two parties, but who knows? Each party could be just playing their role. Um, our job isn't to figure that out. Our job is to just link it to what prophecy says. And this very well might or could lead to a bigger situation, and Lord willing, it does, man, because like I said, I always say this: if you are a follower of Yahawashi, Yahawashi, the number one thing you look for is prophecies, man. And we know, according to prophecy, a lot of bad things have to happen. One of them, is like World War III, which you can say we're already in World War III. We're in the very early stages of it. Um, the MOTB has to be pushed, um, which is out there. That technology is out there, but it has to be pushed. And also protests or civil unrest, right? Or sedition among men, right? So this is from this crazy guy, Infowars. Um, it's a mass protest. The Dems are calling for a mass protest on June 14th. So it says, break-in emergency alert. The desperate Democratic Party knows it's game over, and it's publicly funded slash promoting nationwide massive unrest set to explode Saturday, right? So let me give you the qualifications of a uh, a war, right? So I did this. This ain't Chat GBT. It's another one, but I use this. So I asked it this question: Are the Ellerites close to becoming a civil war? So it gave me the rundown. Pretty much, it said no, not at this time. And then it gives you this graph here, right? So it says LA riots versus Civil War criteria, right? So we're gonna go into this, right? So there's factors of what have to take place. There's a criteria for or what's defined as a civil war, and then it compares it to what's going on today, right? So the first factor is the geographic scope, right? In order for the LA riots have to be, or the LA riots right now are localized, right? They're mainly in LA. For it to become a civil war, it has to be nationwide. It has to be nationwide in large regions, right? So I did this yesterday. I did this whole I asked ChatGPT or I asked AI this question yesterday, and it came up with this yesterday. Now, within not even 24 hours later, it said that there's going to be more events, more planned events. Uh, it says, oh, I see that it says ICE protests spread coast to coast, right? So it's becoming, so it's not only in one region. It's going to New York, it's going to Chicago, it's going to Dallas and Atlanta. All right. So it's spreading. It's not just in downtown LA, right? Oh yeah. So it's becoming nationwide, right? So that's one qualification of it being or leading to a civil war, right? So this is like, man, this is, and who knows, nothing might come out of this, you see? Because a lot of things that happen, sometimes it doesn't come to fruition. It doesn't go full force. A lot of these are just test runs to see how the people are going to react. But this could lead to it, man. It could lead to it. Where are we at? Here it is. So it says the other. So also it's organization. You see, the organization. I'll just start here. The organization, for it to be a civil war, it needs to be organized armed factions. In the I like to use this movie, which was called Civil War, as an example. In that movie, you had states that came together to go against the government. You see, um, I forgot the name or what they were called, right? But Lord willing, this plays out just like that war, just like that movie, Civil War. So you had states that came together against the government. They were organized, armed factions. You see, but these LA riots, they're spontaneous and they're decentralized. Okay, like I said, this is as of yesterday. But within after I punched this in here, and this came out. I just saw this article before I did the show. Look, now they're spreading to other states or other cities. So it's not centralized anymore. It's spreading, right? And according to Infowar, or this dude, Infowar, so their plan, it looks like, is to try to trigger this. That's pretty much what he's alluding to. They're trying to trigger a civil war and a mass civil unrest. Okay, so right now they're spontaneous and decentralized, right? They're not organized armed factions fighting against the government. State authority. The other factor is state authority. It's either has to be collapsed or deeply fractured. Right now, currently, these cities, these states, they're still functioning. Right. Also, the use of military, National Guard, possible Marines. Now, as of I think yesterday, they sent Marines. Right. But in order for it to be a civil war, it has to be full-scale military engagement. And like I said, go back to that movie Civil War. You had the people that were succeeding from the government or fighting against the government. They had armed militia that was fighting against the military, the U.S. military. So that was a civil war. You see? Also, political goals. These riots are pretty much a protest or resistance towards a policy, right? The policy is the immigration policy, right? These ICE protests. Oh, damn. It's like it. These ICE protests are pretty much they're protesting these people or the protesters. They're protesting against uh, the immigration policy set by Trump and the government, right? As far as uh, kicking out or deporting the illegals. So it's a protest, right? But in order for it to be considered a civil war, it's got to be an overthrow or a succession, just like the movie Civil War. Those countries, or not countries, those states, right, which we are called United States. We're a bunch of states that are united to form one, right? These states have to want to succeed from the government, which didn't happen yet. That's not where we're not there yet. All right, so that's why right now it's not a civil war, but it can lead to that. It can lead to that, and Lord willing, it does, man. Because you know, I know a lot of brothers share the same sentiment. We're all sick of being here, man. And I thought of this scripture, Ezekiel 9:4. We want to get the hell out of here, and then I just got some bunch of precepts with it. Ezekiel 9:4. You know, Ezekiel 9:4. It says, and the Lord, and the Lord said, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry, for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And man, brothers, we're all sighing and crying for all the abominations and all the bullshit that's going on here under this current rulership, man. We're sick of Esau ruling. We want a new rulership. We want righteousness back on the earth. We want to get out of here, man. So we're sighing and crying for all the shit that we got to go through, man. You know, it's vexing, you know. And that word mark here goes back to the word tawah, which means an exemption of judgment. All right. See? So, let me see here. Oh, let me go to the, we had a bunch of precepts here. I'll just go to it. That's why it's good to use blue letter, right? I read some of these, right? And this pretty much goes into the mark, right? Is Exodus 12:7. This is the same mark, right? It says, and they shall take the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorposts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And this was during the Passover. And what happened? The angel of death, or the death angel, passed over the ones of the Israelites that had the blood on the door, on the door. Okay, it says strike the two side posts and the upper door posts of the houses, right? So that's pretty much, so it's synonymous, right? If we're sighing and crying, the Most High is gonna allow death to not take us, right? Because we're in that right spirit. We're supposed to be separate from this damn place, man. Matter of fact, that was a scripture. Here it is. 2 Timothy 2:19. It says, nevertheless, the foundation of the Most High standeth sure, having this seal. The Lord knoweth them that are his, right? And the his are referred to the elect, right? The ones that are sighing and crying and wanting to get the fuck out of here. The ones that are sick of this current rulership and want a new rulership, man. Right? The elect, the ones that were chosen prior to the foundation of the world, the ones that were created after, going to Genesis, the first chapter, the Alachayim. You see? The ones that were created with Yahawashi and created the world, those are his. Those belong to Yahawashi, which in turn belong to the Most High. So the Most High is going to make sure those men are protected, right? It says, and let everyone that nameth the name of Yahawashi, right? Showing you that name's important. There goes that name again, right? And let everyone that nameth the name of Yahawashi depart from evil. I'm sorry. Well, depart from iniquity. So we got to depart from the iniquity of this world. That's why it's a good thing to separate yourself from people of this world, because they don't know what's coming. You do, right? That day should not overtake us as a thief. Okay, Second Thessalonians, the fifth chapter. Like, it shouldn't come to us as no surprise that the Lord is going to come as a thief, because we're watching and praying. 2/3 of the nation of Israel, excuse me, aren't watching and praying. That's why right now we got to get in, heavy, deep, a prayer-like spirit. We got to pray to the Most High whenever we can, man. Because if this happens, let me see where we at. If this actually goes down, there's supposed to be something going down. They're calling for mass protests on June 14th. And this protest is gonna spread not only in LA, but it's gonna go events planned in Tuesday. I gotta look at that. It says New York, Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, and showing you that they're allowing this to happen. A curfew covering a compact area of downtown Los Angeles is likely, the city's mayor says, right? So this is why this dude is getting a lot of flack, because he's like, yo, what do you mean? Like, yo, I seen pictures and yo, it's the same shit, man. Soros, man, just destroying shit, paying motherfuckers to destroy shit. I seen his brother. Where he at? I seen his brother video. I was watching it. He said he saw something of actual payments of how much people are getting paid to destroy this shit. That's why nowadays, man, it's hard to get. It's hard to It's not easy, man, to lie, because you got people. What's that? Psalms 64:7, right? The tongue shall fall upon themselves, man. Esau's telling on Esau. Okay, yeah, but you got George Soros funding all these riots, man, and he's paying people to just fucking destroy the place. And you gonna tell me that you don't have a curfew yet? Are you allowing this to happen? You see? But it's beautiful, man. That's why scriptures talk about. They say, "Those Satan divideth against Satan, then shall his kingdom not stand, or how shall his kingdom stand?" There's no way this place. That's why I don't know. I don't know. My personal belief is, I think there. I always compare politics or the government to the show. Fuck, was on HBO. It's on Netflix. House of Cards. I compare it to that. I believe, or I feel, and I speak as a man, I feel like there's some realism to it, to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, I'm speculating. I don't fucking know. But really, it don't matter how much I know. I know what the end is gonna be, and I know the Most High, He ruleth in the kingdom of men, and He can let these rulers do whatever He wants them to do. These rulers, George Soros or whoever, thinking he has all this power to fund riots. Nigga, it's not you. The Most High is allowing you. He's putting it in your spirit to do that. You know, so give credit to where credit is due. This is the Most High's movie, and He's a director, not you actors. You actors are told what to do. Nigga, right? So anyway, where we at? Let me see what else I got here. The Cyan crafting of abominations. Horror hath taken hold upon me because of the wicked, for the wicked that forsake that law. I'm just reading here. Just reading here. For thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place with him also that is of contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble, and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. Right? Right. So this is speaking of when it says to revive the spirit of the humble and revive the heart of the contrite ones. That's speaking about the elect. Right? Let's see something. Let's go into that word when it says. what it says. Let's see, look at the other versions. It says when it says revive. Let's see NIV. It says, "For this is what the high and exalted one says. He who lives forever, whose name is holy." We know that's speaking about the Most High, Yahawah. "I live in a high and holy place, but who, also with the one who is contrite and lowly in spirit, to revive the spirit of the lowly and to revive the heart of the contrite." That's speaking about the elect, right? They're gonna revive them. Um, oh, look at that. It says, "In order to cheer up the humiliated and to encourage the discouraged." Right. So the humiliated and the discouraged are who? You Israelites, the elect. Okay. Let me go into. I wanted to go into. Let's go into the word. Humble, revive. It says revive. Revive. It says to live, have life, remain alive, sustain life, live prosperly, live forever, be quickened, right? To awaken them, be quickened, be alive, be restored to life or health, right? Right. So if we find Yahawashi, we find what? We find life again. You know, right? That's the so the Most High is reviving us. He's bringing us back alive with what? The breath of life. Okay. To revive, to restore to life, cause to grow, restore, revive, right? And that's what the Most High is doing to the elect. And that was a look at that powerful word right there. Where we at? All right, so let me go back. I'll just move on. I think I'm gonna move on to the next scripture and close on that. Where we at? Okay, I'll just right. It says, "The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment, to be punished for the." Okay, yes. It says, For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds." And that's what we do. We're vexed here. That's why the Most High is not going to leave. Um, he's not going to allow the elect. That's why he placed that thawa upon us, man, so we can be exempt from the judgment that's going to take place here, right? So I'll end it with this: Zechariah 14, chapter 14 to 13. It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them." And a tumult is, let's go into that word tumult. What's that word tumult mean? A great tumult from the Lord. You see? It says tumult, confusion, disquietude, discomfiture, destruction, trouble, vexation, confusion, disturbance, turmoil, disquietude, panic. You see? So all out panic, man. Don't this look like a panic? You know? A demonstrator against the Trump administration's immigration raids in Los Angeles. And so this is just going to cause a lot of tension and a lot of quarrel between everybody, man. And this is what they want. This is why I think it's more. I'm leaning more towards as organized because, they want us fighting against each other. You know, because all this is gonna do is you're gonna have you're gonna have Americans and you're gonna have the immigrants that or the people that are against ICE. They're just gonna fight each other. So this is gonna cause a civil. So basically, what I'm saying is people are gonna eventually they're gonna choose sides, man. They're gonna choose sides. Okay, and that's why you're gonna have a lot of this can lead to a civil situation, a civil unrest, man, or not only a civil unrest, a civil war. And Lord willing, it leads to that. It says, "And this shall come to pass in that day, that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor." That's talking about a warfare, a class warfare, okay? A racial warfare, a race war, a class war, okay? Um, Upper class versus middle class, and white versus black, and immigrant versus non-immigrant, American, Democrat versus Republican. Like, it's gonna be all out fighting, man. And like I said, people are gonna have to decide. They're gonna choose a side, you know. And it looks like what they're trying to do is they're just gonna blame it on this dude. Okay, look at this. Gabbard says, hold on. Gabbard warns world closer to brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Why? Because and that shit in this situation with Russia is not quailing either. Russia. That's why I said we're already in World War III. We're in the early stages of World War III. And right now Ukraine is getting a foot handed to them, and Russia's not even doing that much. Russia's not even doing that much, man. It's like they slap boxing or something. Like Russia's just playing around with Ukraine right now, and that's definitely a proxy war because America, they have troops and they're training people. So it's basically America and Russia, or like just, you know, they're in a little war right now, man. So that's why these nations, they're starting to choose their side, man. You see? Anyway, let's see. Then I'll end it. It says, in conclusion, the LA riots, while severe and politically charged, remain a case of intense civil unrest rather than imminent civil war. The situation is being closely monitored and managed by both state and federal authorities, and there is no indication of organized armed conflict that would signal a civil war. The primary risk at present is further escalation and political polarization. All right, so on that note, I'll leave it on that. Lord willing, your brothers and sisters were edified. Until the next show, shalawam.